What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video, another live stream on the Texas Rangers report. And in this live stream, we're going to be going over some trade rumors regarding the Texas Rangers, because even though the collective bargaining agreement ends today for the Texas Rangers, there is still a good amount of trade rumors circulating around the Rangers. So as we already know, we have signed big free agents like Corey Seager, Marcus Semien, and some lower tier guys like Cole Calhoun and John Gray. However, if you listen to the players' press conferences today, whenever they signed with the Rangers, one big thing that made the players super excited about coming to Texas was that the Rangers want to win now, and that the front office was going after front of the market players, and the emphasis was on the plural of players. So I don't think the Rangers are done yet, and that's why I think the Rangers are interested in guys like Matt Olson, or interested in the Cincinnati Reds starting pitchers. That could range from Luis Castillo to Sonny Gray to Tyler Mahle. All those guys, you get them for this year and one more year as well. Sonny Gray being the oldest, then Luis Castillo at 28, and Tyler Mahle down at 27. But also, this provides another interesting trade aspect, which is a possible trade of Isiah Kiner-Falefa. So we all know the story behind him, the middle infield, then went the catcher, and then he won a Gold Glove at third base, and then he played really, really well. Well, not really well, but he was a really solid defender at shortstop. And now he's getting trade buzz on the trade market because some teams like the Yankees all of a sudden don't want to give a big contract to one of the guys like Carlos Correa or Trevor Story, even though at the beginning of the offseason, they're all in on those guys. So since we have Corey Seager, he's not going to play over him. He's not going to play over Marcus Semien. He could start at third base, but he could be an interesting trade chip, because if we saw Elvis Andrus' trade market last year, he still had a trade market, even though he wasn't in his prime anymore. So IKF is still in his prime, or maybe just entering his prime, and he could be a stopgap for the Yankees until Anthony Volpe gets to the majors, and maybe the Rangers go after a starting pitcher, because I know the Rangers are still wanting to target those guys. And then from Ron Duffney, how about the Yankees? That's where I think IKF could go, because the Yankees have said they were in on a bunch of guys. Basically every single free agent shortstop that would spin out there except Javier Baez. But now it seems like they're backing off, especially since Corey Seager's gone. I feel like that was the one guy they really, really wanted, but we signed him. So I think that the Yankees are a possible trade candidate for Isiah Kiner-Falefa. Would the Yankees fans really like that? I don't know, because they're super harsh on the players, the managers, etc. But could it make sense, because IKF may only get $5 million this year compared to a $30 million contract for Corey Seager? That could make some sense. From Mike Osman, is there a real reason for them to get this done before the lockout tonight, or do they wait till it's over? So I'm guessing you mean like a trade for Matt Olson, or maybe one of the Red starting pitchers. I think you can wait, but I don't know, because if you wait and then both sides don't have a good deal, teams are always like, we can just wait to the trade deadline. However, if there's also a sense of urgency right now, but it's really tough to know if they should make this happen right now or wait till after the lockout, because we haven't really experienced anything like this in baseball. But maybe, let me put it this way: if you were to try to trade right now maybe the Rangers are only one of a few teams that are interested right now because they have more money, and you don't know what the bargaining agreement is going to look like afterwards. So maybe if it looks really weird with the tax that goes on teams, or maybe less teams are interested, or maybe if it's not that bad, maybe, and then teams like the Yankees and Dodgers can spend a lot on players, then maybe those teams can spend more. So it's kind of tough to gauge as of right now. From Skip Bayless, Rangers interested in Matt Olson. Yeah, so there's a tweet by, I don't know who tweeted it, but the Rangers and the Braves are interested in Matt Olson. I'm pretty sure the Yankees are still interested in Matt Olson as well. But obviously, if he went to the Braves, that's in the instance of Freddie Freeman not signing back. Although if he went to the Rangers, that would be extremely interesting because we already have Nate Lowe. But could Nate Lowe be used as a trade chip? I think the Athletics, they've been competitive for a really decent amount of time now, like 3 or 4 years. Could you use Nate Lowe as a trade chip because he has control? And could you also use another trade chip I've been talking about, an Isiah Kiner-Falefa, trade him to the Oakland Athletics? Because right now their shortstop is Elvis Andrus, and we all know Elvis Andrus is on the wrong side of his career. So would the Oakland Athletics be interested in deals surrounding Nate Lowe, IKF, and then let's say Davis Wenzel? I mean, that probably doesn't get the deal done. You probably need to throw in a better prospect or another prospect altogether. But that is intriguing. However, the one catch is that you only get Matt Olson for this year and next year, and he is already 28, but you would get one of the best first basemen in the game. Offensively, defensively, a 2-time Silver Slugger and a 2-time Gold Glover. So it's really interesting to see what type of players the Rangers want to trade for, and would they give these guys an extension? Because the guys that they're trying to trade for, well, they're just interested in not actually trying to trade for them right now. But Matt Olson, only 2 years left via the arbitration system. Same with Tyler Mahle, Luis Castillo as well, only 2 years left via arbitration. And then Sonny Gray has 2 years, but it would be this year, and then next year would be a club option. So though you can kind of view those as rentals. I don't know if rentals are the best way to go right now, since I don't think we're gonna, like, we are getting really good players. We probably have one of the best middle infields overnight, but we still are 2 years away from being relevant, I believe. I think we're gonna see what this team is really made of this year, and then in 2023, I think that's when the Rangers are going to just let the chips fall where they may. Mike Osmond again might need a Foscue or White or Duran, probably for Matt Olson. And that's the thing. I don't know if I want to trade any of those prospects. I mean, I get that not all of these guys are going to make the major. Well, they may make the major leagues, but not all of them will probably be able to start for the Texas Rangers. And if you just look at the numbers, you have, especially in the middle infield, you have Corey Seager, 10 years, Marcus Semien, 7 years. And you look at the prospects, they're getting closer and closer to the major leagues. You have Justin Foscue, Ezekiel Duran, Josh Smith, Luis Acuna, Davis Wenzel. So that's just a few of the middle infield prospects. And I mean, you can always move them to other positions, but they could also end up being trade chips as well. Although I know some of you guys have brought up things like you don't want to just trade everybody like the Padres did last year, because the Padres had a really good farm system. They traded their entire farm system for Yu Darvish, Blake Snell, Joe Musgrove. And I think of another guy, but their team ended below or right around 500 after all those trades, and their farm system is really garbage right now. So that's definitely one thing the Rangers have to keep in mind when trying to make some of these trades. And we're going to lose our second round pick and our third round pick next year. So that's going to take a little bit of a hit on the farm system. From Ivan Chavez, I think low is decent. Why go for Olson when outfield is much more needed? I mean, that's true. Although, I mean, I'm not in the heads of Chris Young and John Daniels. I mean, we got to give them some credit because they are the ones that orchestrated Corey Seager and Marcus Semien coming over to Texas. And honestly, who thought we were going to get two of the top middle infielders in this free agency class? I really thought it was just going to be one. And I know a lot of people were like, are we even going to get one? But we got two. The Tigers got Javier Baez, and that was a guy I didn't really even want to sign. And then after we signed Marcus Semien, I was like, okay, Javier Baez wouldn't be terrible, but the Tigers only got Javier Baez, but we got Corey Seager and Marcus Semien. So we got to give them some credit. But I do think first base isn't the biggest need. However, if you trade for Olson and you keep Lowe, you could use Lowe as you could use Lowe as the DH because as of right now, say you sign another outfielder, that would mean let's just say you sign a Suzuki as your left fielder, a Doles at center, Cole Calhoun at right. You still need a DH, so that would most likely mean Willie's your DH. I don't think the trade makes the most sense, but it's definitely interesting. But the thing is, the Athletics are going to require they're always going to require a big prospect haul for Matt Olson just because he's Matt Olson. He's one of the best first basemen in the game, but also we are in the same division as the Oakland Athletics. So that's going to be the end division. They're going to put more capital on the trade. So as of right now, I'm not saying let's go for Matt Olson. I'm not saying let's not go for it. Same with like Luis Castillo or Sonny Gray. I'm just trying to get a feel for would this be good? Would this not be good? Trying to go through my options basically as we speak, but I think we'll have a lot of time to think about it, especially if nothing gets done tonight because I think the lockout could last a decent amount of time. From Dak Prescott, in my opinion, we need to focus on our pitching staff. But if a Olsen deal is on the table without Leiter, when a Young, then I'll do it. Yeah, I mean, so here's going back to what Ivan said. Like, of course, Matt Olson is one of the best first basemen in the game. And since the Rangers said that they are going after top of the market players, I think this is good that the Rangers are at least inquiring about him. Because could you imagine, say his price wasn't as bad as we thought it would be, and we struck a deal? That would be amazing. But let's just say it's not. At least we inquired. He's one of the best first basemen, and if it's too lengthy of a prospect haul, fine. Let's go for Chris Bryant. Let's spend some money on Clayton Kershaw, or let's go to another team and get like the Reds. Maybe trade for Luis Castillo. I'm not saying we do this. I'm just going through some options. But I know that the Rangers are trying to get the fan base back and energized about the Ranger organization, but also get the players energized and ready to come to Texas because not a lot of free agents have wanted to come to Texas. But I think the narrative is starting to change with the new ballpark, with the it's just a great place to be around with the data, with the environment. But yeah, I think it's good to release inquiring because you shouldn't leave anything to chance. That's my mantra. You just shouldn't leave anything to chance. From Ryan, Foscue is definitely gone. I wouldn't say he's definitely gone. Is he being talked about in trades right now? Most definitely, I think he is, but I wouldn't say he's definitely gone. Although going back to a trade, Foscue, he's a second baseman, and He's not going to play short. Would he be good at third? I don't know. So his bat would have to carry him in the major leagues. Maybe it wouldn't be that bad of a trade chip for a guy like Matt Olson or Luis Castillo. And then from Ryan, and there's no way they trade Young when they're not trading any of those guys. So I think if a team is even asking for those guys, it would be like Juan Soto or somebody crazy. And we're obviously not getting Juan Soto is not getting traded, and we're not trading those three prospects. So it'd obviously be lower tier prospects or maybe IKF or Nate Lowe. From Mike Usman, the upside is Matt Olson is a proven elite first baseman. The downside, if you give up a couple extra prospects. Yes, and the downside is you only get him for 2 years. You could always extend him. However, I'm curious who his agent is. I'm going to look that up right now. Because if it is Scott Boras, then he most likely will go to free agency. Although if it's somebody else, a contract extension could get worked out. But let's just see. I'm looking it up right now. His agent is Jet Sports Management. So I would say there's hope to get an extension with a guy like Matt Olson. However, if you've seen what some guys have done as they've gotten closer to being a free agent, they've hired big-time sports agents like Scott Boras. That's what Marcus Semien did this year. And, Matt Olson's only a one-time All-Star, two-time Gold Glover. That's what Marcus Semien did. And Scott Boras has a really good reputation. He gets the most for his clients, and that means he's getting the most for himself as well, because agents only get about 3% of the player's contract. So take that into perspective. You get a $325 million contract for Corey Seager. You get 3% of that. That's like $9 million. And then another 33% of that goes to tax. So basically he's walking away with $3-ish million for that massive Corey Seager deal. So he can. That's why Scott Boras is going to take his clients to free agency so they can get the most dollars. In the end, he gets the most dollars as well. But he is one of the most reputable agents on the market. That's why it might be easier to work out extensions with lesser known sports agents. But Matt Olson could always go to Scott Boras. We could see there's a lot of things to think about. It's kind of a fun time because a year or two ago, I specifically remember last year, our biggest free agents were David Dahl and Kohei Arihara. And now we've already signed Corey Seager, Marcus Semien, John Gray, and Cole Calhoun. And then if we go back to another offseason, it would have been like Kyle Gibson and Jordan Lyles. And then the offseason before that, it would have been Lance Lynn. Lance, we all know what Lance Lynn is, what he's doing. But that was like our only signing. So let's just say we signed Lance Lynn that in offseason. And then I think Bryce Harper was a free agent that offseason. So that'd be like signing Lance Lynn, Bryce Harper, another star that free agent period, and then a mid-tier guy like Cole Calhoun. You know where I'm going. It's just crazy how the narrative has changed, how we're even talking about guys like Matt Olson, Sonny Gray, Luis Castillo. I wouldn't be surprised if another All-Star got thrown into the mix on Twitter in a week or something. It's nice to see that the narrative is changing. From Ryan, IKF catcher would be a move, to be honest, or outfield. We should not put him back to catcher. I mean, I know he's played catcher, but this isn't MLB The Show where you can just throw him back to catcher and hope everything is good. Like, we have to remember he wasn't good defensively as a catcher. And then when he was hitting as a catcher, his hitting stats were terrible compared to what they already are now. So I think catcher's out of the mix, and he's just getting older, so he'd have to learn all of that again. And I don't think he would want to do that. I don't think the organization would want to do that. But outfield could make sense, left field, or even third base. So you could have him like platoon with Cole Calhoun. That could be interesting. But I wonder if he provides more value actually playing for the Rangers or via a trade with like the Yankees for a guy like Jordan Montgomery. I know the Yankees are interested, but if the Yankees are interested, I would imagine other teams would be interested in him. Maybe the Athletics. Honestly, I wonder if you could throw him into a Cincinnati Reds deal for Tyler Mahle, Luis Castillo, something like that. Because shortstop is a big position where a lot of teams, don't have a shortstop, so a lot of teams are going to be interested in his services. And now we have a shortstop. Would it be smart to actually trade a serviceable shortstop to competitors for a starting pitcher? Maybe. I don't know. It's tough. And while I was thinking about teams, Ruben Odor actually signed a major league contract with the Baltimore Orioles. Just so that's kind of cool. He's not done with his major league career just yet. For Mike Osman, thoughts. Agents got like 10%. Oh, thought agents got like 10%. I don't see Boris as being nearly as greedy as I previously. Wait, Boris as being nearly as greedy as I previously thought. No. I mean, depending on the agent, they could get more. But I did a Google search a few days ago, and it said like the average is 3%. So, I mean, Boris probably gets more than the average. And as far as the greedy, I don't see Boris as being nearly as greedy as I previously thought. Now, I mean, yeah, because if we're being honest, like I feel like all humans are a little greedy because like if I'm applying to a job, I want to get the most money I possibly can. If you're a player, like entering free agency, just think about the Josh Hamilton whenever he was being a free agent and he left the Rangers. He wanted to get the most bang for his buck because obviously he never got a contract again. And this isn't like the NBA where you can get multiple and multiple contracts in your career. So people are trying to cash in. And let's just say it's an agent who doesn't have a lot of reputable clients, and let's just say one of his clients is really hitting, he's going to do as much as he can to maximize the profit for his client, which maximizes the profit for himself. Because in the end, it's all about the game, but people are trying to make a living as well. From Dallas sports fan forever, are Rangers a big market team? Yes, they are because we are in Dallas. It's just we haven't really been spending like a big market team like the Yankees or the Dodgers. Like those teams have been going over the luxury tax. But if you think about it, not too long ago, 3 or 4 years, our our salary cap was in like 160 million, 170. That was whenever we had like Odor, Sinsu Chu, Mike Napoli, uh, Elvis Andrews, Cole Hamels, Yu Darvish. Um, so we are a big market team because Dallas is a big market in the U.S. You have Dallas, you have Los Angeles, you have New York. Those are some of the biggest markets in the United States. So yes, we are. Mike Osman. They are number 4 or 5, depending on who. Yes, yeah, number 4, 5, 3. But I think a lot, maybe like the third market as a state. But if you look at like teams, like obviously, I think the Mets would probably be higher. The Dodgers, the Yankees, the Giants. Actually, the Phillies they have a big market. And so just think about like wherever there's not. So it's kind of tough because sometimes if there's a lot of people, it's not a big market, but usually there is when it comes to baseball teams and sports teams, like because Philadelphia is a big market. Same with New York. Same with Los Angeles. Same with Dallas. But obviously, if you look at like Pittsburgh or Kansas City or Milwaukee, those are really small markets. So it's just, I don't know. If you learn like the economy a little bit, it's pretty easy. Or if you just look at like population reports in a city, it's kind of easy to see like if you're a big market or not. From Mike Osmond, what position does Montgomery play? He's a left-handed starting pitcher for the New York Yankees. From Dallas Sportsman Forever, who do we trade to get Meddleson? Okay, so I talked about this a little earlier in the live stream, but I think it could consist of Nate Lowe, Isiah Kiner-Falefa, and then I think it has to be one of our middle infield prospects. So probably two, if I'm being honest. So maybe Davison Wenzel and Luis Acuna. But maybe if you want to give up less prospects, maybe you throw in Ezekiel Duran or Justin Foscue, and maybe they would accept that. Or maybe you just start the negotiation right there and see what the Athletics are thinking as far as that trade offer. Yeah, congrats. Everybody say congrats to Rugi in the comment section. Honestly, I'm glad he's off the Rangers. I was surprised we even got prospects for him. I made a video a year ago or maybe 7 months ago on the channel talking about the Odor trade. I was so surprised we even found a trade partner. We even got prospects. Josh Stowers actually played pretty well. He was an outfielder for Frisco, although he struck out a lot. And then the other player we got, Antonio Cabello. He struggled, but I mean, Odor struggled for us in the majors. He struggled for the Yankees, but I mean, I'm happy for him. I'm happy he's not on the Rangers, but I'm happy that he's playing in the major league still because I like him as a person. He punched Jose Bautista in the face, which was really cool. So, and he's just a good guy. From Ryan, we ain't getting Olson. Nate Lowe really isn't that bad. I know Nate Lowe isn't really that bad. I think he had a really underrated season, but would you rather have Matt Olson or Nate Lowe? And then so answer that question, and then answer another question. To get Matt Olson, let's just say the Rangers have it in their mind that we're getting Matt Olson no matter what. Would you rather give up Nate Lowe, and like one prospect, or one or two like lesser prospects, or would you rather give up like Ezekiel Duran and Justin Foscue and maybe Owen White? Because that would be a big hit to the farm system. I'm personally all about building the farm system, and free agency is nice because you get to add players to the team, and it doesn't really impact you don't lose prospects, etc. Like in the future, we'll lose prospects because for signing Seager and Semien because we won't get a second or a third round pick. But it kind of makes sense signing these qualified free agents in the same year because the penalty isn't as harsh. Imagine, let's just say we sign Marcus Semien this year. So we would lose our second highest draft pick and $500,000 in international signing bonus. And imagine, and then next year we sign Corey Seager. It's the exact same penalty. Our second highest draft pick and $500,000 international signing bonus. But since we do it all in this year, we lose our second and our third and the $500,000, and we just get it all over with. And next year we start off with a clean slate, unless we sign more qualified free agents. But I'm all about building the farm system, and I think the guys in the farm system actually have more potential than Nate Lowe, but I do like Nate Lowe as a player. From Dallas Sports Fan Forever, I heard rumors saying we were going to get him, so I guess we're getting Matt Olson, guys. Well, I mean, they're just rumors, so don't believe it till you see it. Just like with the Corey Seager stuff, Marcus Semien. Like obviously, there's rumors around Corey Seager. There's rumors around Trevor Story to the Rangers. I'm sure that if we didn't get Seager, we're probably gonna get Story. So the rumors are valid, but let's just not believe it till he's on the team. Like we can speculate about trades, but we're not gonna manifest it right now. From Mike, sure, I agree. Got to get paid. Oh, this is still about the whatchamacallit stuff. From Dallas, what do you think about the Rangers getting Kershaw? I'm on board. I'll make this quick because I've talked about this a lot on the channel, but he's on the decline, but he would be one of maybe the ace on the staff. He provides great veteran experience, postseason experience, and he already has that Dodgers connection with Chris Woodward. From PJ, is Lamar Jackson, LeBron James getting traded to the Drillers? Yes, they are. They are. What's up, PJ? Ryan, Nate Lowe with better pitchers and using the prospects to get better pitchers. What? So Nate Lowe with better pitchers and using the prospects to get better pitchers. Oh, you saying trade Nate Lowe for better pitchers and then using the prospects to get better pitchers? I mean, that's probably what the Luis Castillo deal would be about, using the prospects to get like an ace in Castillo. Not really too sure what you mean about Nate Lowe. I mean, I'm down for Castillo. It's just we only get him for 2 years. We could always work out an extension if things go well. And if we don't, most likely he'd get a qualifying offer. So we could get a draft pick. But it's a little tricky whenever you have to give a lot, and the Rangers aren't really like contending for a World Series because that'd be like a World Series type of move. But it's a little interesting right now. And then again from Ryan, and honestly, who cares about the lost draft picks only for the first round teams? Doesn't matter. The Rangers have a terrible history with player development. I mean, I think their history is starting to change a little bit for sure. They're getting new draft philosophies. They're getting better with the player development. But honestly, you can find talent anywhere. So you can miss on the first rounder, and then your second round pick could be like Josh Bell, or you can find guys in the 6th round like Marcus Semien, or you can literally just focus in on the international free agent period. But I mean, I think you should still worry about the draft picks. Just maybe focusing on what years you really want to go after the qualified free agents, and then what years aren't really a great year to go after those guys. From Tyler Rainey, if I'm the Rangers, I'm not giving up Acuna or Duran. Yeah, I mean, I think the Rangers, if I'm being completely honest, I think the Rangers will make a trade this offseason. I think it will be with one of the middle infielders because I really think the Rangers are focused on making the team better. It's just which middle infielder is it going to be? And honestly, it's cheaper to go and trade for somebody instead of signing them because Sonny Gray, or let's just say Luis Castillo, he would get top dollar on the market right now. Probably one of the best pitchers. But you'd have to give up prospects. But he's only getting $7 million compared to saying a $30 million, like a Garrett Cole or something. But you have to give up the prospects. So maybe the Rangers are viewing this as a way to keep the budget down. But I'm saying it first right now. I think the Rangers are going to trade for a guy this offseason. Not necessarily like a Nate Lowe type of trade, but a trade that actually gets a notable name to Texas, and it'll probably be with one of the middle infield prospects. And honestly, I don't like giving up prospects, but I think the Rangers are trying to turn a corner. And if you make one of the trades that gives up prospects, it's not the worst thing in the world. From Alejandro Vasquez. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Or is it Alejandro? Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani trade to the Rangers for $5. Yeah, it's the $5 beer night. We can just get whatever we want. That sounds like you have forced trades on during MLB The Show. We can just get those guys. But another comment from Alejandro. How long do you think Jack Leiter will stay in the minor league system? So honestly, I thought if Jack Leiter were to pitch this year with the Rangers minor league system, I thought he would have started right in Double-A. So let's just say he does decent spring training. I don't really care about spring training with Jack Leiter, but let's just say he starts in Double-A again. I think the highest he'll get this year is AAA, but I think he can push for the majors. And then I think it's kind of a similar situation with Josh Young. Like Josh Young, he has the chance to start out of spring training this year. I think that's what it'll be like for Jack Leiter next year. I think Jack Leiter is going to be pushing for a rotation spot out of spring training next year. From Teflon Breed, what do you think about some people saying that the Rangers overpaid for Semien Seager? Honestly, I don't really care right now. Um, if they're good, then it doesn't really matter. If they suck, then that's going to suck. But if you think about it, we've dealt with guys not really performing up to their contract because we've dealt with Shohei. I mean, not Shohei Ohtani. What's his name? Oh my God, I can't. Shinsu Chu. Honestly, like he wasn't a bad Ranger. I literally bought his jersey. I liked him. He made an All-Star team, but was he worth that contract? Probably not. But also you have to think about it for the future. The Rangers are trying to build for the future, and the Rangers are also trying to get these guys. And with these guys, we're trying to attract other guys. And I think the Rangers had to overpay a little bit to get the top guys like Corey Seager, Marcus Semien. But honestly, I don't care too much. It's probably just a bunch of writers trying to get content to talk about, and then also other sports fans just salty because they didn't get these guys. Could you imagine if the Yankees got this Corey Seager, same contract? Writers would maybe say he's overpaid, but Yankees fans would be super stoked. I'm still super stoked. Whenever they're doing the press conferences today, I didn't believe it was real. I'm super excited. Dak Prescott, out of the Reds pitchers, who would you want the most? Okay, given that, so let's just break them down. Sonny Gray, he's the oldest. He's the most expensive right now. So you have Sonny Gray, who's 32, Luis Castillo, who's 28, and Tyler Mahle, who's 27. You get all of them for 2 years. So Castillo and Mahle is through the arbitration system, and Sonny Gray he actually has a contract. So it's 10 mil this year, I think 10 or 12 mil, and then he has a club option for next year. But if we're going with the track record, I would go for Castillo if the price is right. He had a down year, so that might affect his trade value positively for the Rangers. But he has ace stuff, and he's only 1 year older than Mahle. He's only 7 mil this year, arbitration next year. But Mahle is interesting, 27, but you get him for the same amount of time as Castillo, and he doesn't have that track record. So it would make me hesitant to give up prospects for Mahle because you get him the same amount of time. But with Castillo, you just get an ace. So imagine you trade for Castillo, and then you sign Kershaw, or you sign. I mean, Stroman's off the market. He just went to the Cubs. He was one of my top guys, but you still go after Rodon. He's a top dollar guy. But if you sign Castillo, oh, there's my dog. But if you go after Castillo, I still think the Rangers are going to be interested in Kershaw or at least another starting pitcher. Again, from Alejandro, do you think the Rangers will sign any other big free agents? Oh, thanks for the pronunciation. Alejandro. Okay, I got that. Yes, I do think they'll sign other big free agents. Do I think it'll be like Freddie Freeman? No. Chris Bryant? No. There's haven't been reports about Chris Bryant. If you consider Seiya Suzuki a big free agent, then I think there's a possibility with him. I still think there's a possibility with Kershaw. But those are the two biggest things. Would be another outfield bat and another starting pitcher. So Kershaw and Seiya Suzuki. Holy crap, the door is closing. What the heck? Oh, it's just nobody's even there. That's weird. but I think it'll be after the lockout if and when they sign. Actually, not even if. I think it's when they sign those guys. I know that the Rangers are going to sign and add more, so it's going to be after the lockout. But look for another outfield bat, and look for another starting pitcher to be added via free agency, and that's not even that shouldn't even affect what they do with trades. Again, from Alejandro, do you also think Ohtani can be even better next year, and how long can he maintain his two-way status? Do you think he can keep it up for his whole career? So this is an interesting question right here. So I honestly think this might be one of the best seasons we see from Ohtani, if I'm being completely honest. I wish the best for Ohtani. I think he's one of the best things to happen to baseball. But honestly, I think his best route to success in the major leagues is just staying a hitter. Because he's always getting injuries. Even this year when he stayed healthy as a pitcher, he's still dealing with blisters. And as you get older, it's gonna be tough, if I'm being honest, because you always get players that get older that just play the outfield that just have to transition to being a DH. And imagine trying to handle going through your routine as an outfield, as a DH, and then also trying to be a starting pitcher. Do I want Ohtani to keep it up? Yes, but all good things come to an end. So if he was, I think he would still have a phenomenal career if he just stayed an outfielder slash a DH. But I think this next year will definitely be interesting. But I hope you guys enjoy it. I'm not saying he's gonna plateau, but it's just tough. It's just tough, and I think he's super special. So I'm not trying to predict anything, but we'll just see how his career goes. From Teflon Breed, I saw one YouTuber say the Rangers overpay for Seager because he is not good defensively. Sounded like a hater to me. Yeah, so let's be honest. He obviously isn't the best defensive shortstop. Javier Baez is probably better. Carlos Correa is better, and Trevor Story is better. But he's adequate at being as a defensive shortstop. Later in his career, he might have to move to third. He probably won't move to second because we have Marcus Semien. But you have to look at other things besides the batting and the defense. You have the relationship with Chris Woodward. That's one. You have the connection with Tim Hires, the hitting coach. That's two. And I think he's a driven player. That's a tool that scouts like to call your makeup. It's what makes you besides your physical attributes. Let's just say, what if Carlos Correa? I'm not accusing him of this. What if he's just not driven like a Corey Seager? Where let's just say Corey Seager can drive a whole team to just become the better version of themselves. That's something you can't find in the stats. So, are we a better team that we have Seager on our squad now? Yes. Overpaid a little bit, maybe, but I think overall it'll be a good thing for Texas in the long run. From Dirk Doncic, what's the word on Pablo Lopez? I don't think there's any word on Pablo Lopez. Let me just do a quick search, but if I'm being honest, I don't think there's any word on Pablo. I don't even think the Marlins are trying to trade him. But that could be interesting. I don't really know where the Marlins stand right now. I know they added Avisail Garcia. They added what have they done? I know they traded for Starling, the catcher, I think, from the Pirates. They just got Joey Wendell. That's interesting. But they also traded Jorge Alfaro. I guess that kind of cancels the catcher deal with. I guess they like Stallings better than Alfaro. Alfaro, former Ranger prospect. I really don't know if the Marlins are trying to go compete. If they are, I don't know if they trade Lopez, but they do have they actually do have some depth at pitching, so maybe he is expendable. I'm not sure. From Dan, I would love Olson, but dang, we need pitching. Yeah, we do. That's why we're in talks with the Reds for. They said they're starting pitchers, but I'm just gonna assume. Well, actually, no, they did. In the tweet, it said Sonny Gray, Luis Castillo, Tyler Mahle. I think that's how you say his name. So we're still looking through the trade, and I think after, I mean, December 1st is gonna be over in a few hours, so the lockout's gonna happen, in my opinion. And so I think after the lockout, we're gonna sign a starting pitcher. I think it's gonna be Clayton Kershaw. If not, maybe look for Carlos Rodon. That would be sick. With some of my other guys that are off the market right now, like Stroman and Kevin Gausman. But look for a trade and look for another free agent signing for a pitcher and an outfielder. Oh my God. From Ooga Booga. What do you think we should focus on next? Outfielder, pitching, more hitting? Both. I mean, pitching is a little bit more important, but both. I mean, outfielder is also combined with hitting. So, but I mean, you do have bigger holes in the rotation. I actually think our bullpen is kind of fine right now. I don't think we need to sign anybody. We got Barlow, we got Hernandez coming back. We have Leclerc, we have Snyder, we have Spencer Patton, DeMarcus Evans. Who's that lefty? Brett Martin. So we actually have some guys. You can just maybe sign some minor league free agents like we did last year. That's how we got Ian Kennedy. Who else? Matt Bush. You can find quality guys through minor league signings, but definitely starting pitchers because right now John Gray is going to be the if we start right now, he'd be our ace. Then you have Taylor Hearn, Dane Dunning, and then after that, it's I guess I don't even know AJ Alexi, Glenn Otto, or Spencer Howard. Definitely need at least one more starter. Let me get a drink real quick. From Alejandro, do you think the Rangers can win over 500 this year? And with a little luck, and Clayton Kershaw signing make a wild card spot. If not this year, then the next 3. Honestly, I really don't know about this year because if we're saying after these signings they give us like 15 more wins, we'd still be a losing ball club. But there's the dog again. But if we get Kershaw, say a Suzuki, and they play well, it's possible. But let's just say like we always have injuries. So let's say Kershaw gets injured, Suzuki doesn't play well in the majors, Leclerc gets injured again, or let's say Leclerc doesn't get injured. Let's say Joe Barlow gets injured, and let's just say Josh Young plays, and he doesn't perform well. Then we probably wouldn't make the playoffs because it seems like right now we need almost everything clicking right to make it. And I think 2023 is a more realistic goal for the playoffs. From Ivan, don't know how we're overpaying if everyone expected him Craig to get And now it's kind of interesting because let's say the Mariners go after Correa. The bar was set here for Seager. And since Correa is the number 1 free agent on the market, he's going to want to shoot above that. So if the Mariners are interested in him, they're going to have to overpay him even more. Or I don't think the Yankees are in him anymore. Detroit isn't. Probably. I mean, if he goes back to the Astros, they would have to pay him even more. And I think they're really close to the luxury tax. But I mean, these guys were expected to get over 30 mil. So I don't think we should worry about being overpaid. Let's just see what they do, how they help the organization. But if we wanted somebody cheaper, we could have gone for Trevor Story. But I think he's gonna help. I think he's gonna help us out. Sorry for all the questions, but I love hearing other people's thoughts, especially on my favorite team. Yeah, I mean, this is what I'm here for. That's why I create the channel. So is completely fine. I like answering all the questions. I'm all in on Kershaw. Honestly, at this point, me too. He wasn't my top free agent pick for starting pitchers. It was Kevin Gausman, but he's gone. We already got John Gray. He wasn't really my top pick, but he's kind of like that middle tier guy. I still think the Rangers are going to try to get that ace type of pitcher via trade, via free agency, maybe both. We all know what Kershaw can do when he's on. I think when he's on, it's not as I think it's lesser than what it used to be. I think he just needs to stay healthy. But even when he's not healthy, let's just say he has 1 or 2 stints on the IL. If we sign him, he still provides value to all the younger players, and maybe even he provides value to the coaches. If we're being honest, a lot depends on when. Honestly, I don't think anything depends on when, because I think if he were to make the major leagues this year, it would be in September or August. So I don't think much really depends on Cohen. Leclerc gets injured every hour. Yes, and honestly, I feel like he was on the brink of getting traded last offseason. Whenever we were trading, it seems like we were trading everybody last offseason. Trade Rafael Montero, Scott Heineman, who else? Well, anyways, and I really thought Leclerc was the next to go. And coming into this offseason, I'm like, could he be a trade chip? But I'm like, no, his trade value is so low, and he's on a cheap deal, so he might as well help out the team. And if we don't do well, he can be a nice trade chip, or he can just help us for the future. Dak Prescott, if we sign Kershaw and Suzuki, I would have us at 86 wins. Honestly, I wonder how you guys are doing all these projections. Like, I don't even know how to project like how many wins these guys would give us. Like, even like if you go to Vegas, some of the smartest projections in the world, they're always wrong. So it's kind of funny. I'm not putting anybody down, but 86. So would that be around a 500 ball club? I mean, that's better than what we were this year. So Dirk Doncic, thank you for all your work you do. I make sure I like every video. Keep up the great work, bro. Thank you. I really appreciate it, guys. And if you haven't already, please give the video a like, because that's honestly the best way to support the channel. And my goal is to actually get to 1,000 subscribers by opening day. So if you have Rangers fans, Rangers friends or family, sharing this video would help out greatly. And I'm going to have you guys cover it all off season. If we do sign Kershaw, if we do trade for Olson or Castillo or sign Suzuki, I'll have you guys covered with a video or a live stream or both. So make sure to like, subscribe, and share the video. Dan, 110 wins confirmed. That's funny. Is that what Vegas said? Vegas said 110. Let's see. Let me see what my dog says. My dog said 90 wins if we get all these guys. 90 wins, guys. Would that be a playoff? Probably a playoff team. Actually, what would be a 500 ball club? So there's 162 games. So 81 and 81 would be 500. I think high 60s or low 70s would be more realistic. I think high 70s. High 70s is realistic. But honestly, it depends on how we continue to build the team. And if Josh Young plays well, like I expect Marcus Semien and Corey Seager to play well. If he plays well, then this could get exciting. Like Cole Calhoun, like whatever, like he could be average. John Gray, he could be another like Lance Lynn, Kyle Gibson, blah blah blah. But if our prospects start to play well with the free agents, then that's when we have something. So if Josh Young plays well, this could get funny. Like my dog joke. Dan, no, I was JK. I think we're lucky if we get 70. Yeah, I don't think we're lucky. I honestly think 70, high 70s could be realistic. Because remember, Chris Woodward's first year, we were. Let me see. Texas Rangers 2019 record. Chris Woodward's first year, we didn't do terrible. We were 78 and 84 with a lesser ball club. Like, we did have 3 All-Stars. It was Mike Minor, Hunter Pinch, Joey Gallo. But those guys, Joey Gallo got injured. Wasn't there for the back half of the season. Hunter Pinch got injured, played terrible in the back half. It was a lesser of a team. So I think high 70s is definitely realistic. We're 78 and 84, and that was his first year. Yes, we have guys like Danny Santana who played well. Willie Calhoun was actually playing well. But honestly, I don't even remember anybody else on the starting rotation besides Mike Minor. So yeah. Dude, yeah, you're doing a great job. There are no Rangers fans down here in Austin. So you guys doing these podcasts are a lifeline. Thank you. I really appreciate it. So basically, I don't know if you want to hear the story, but reason I created this channel was about 3 years ago, 2 years, it doesn't really matter. I was cleaning my room and it was the off season. I think we just signed Kyle Gibson. I'm like, I want to hear what people have to say on it. Like, I would say, Alexa, play Dallas Cowboys podcast, and it would play a Dallas Cowboys podcast because the Dallas Cowboys are big, and of course they have a podcast. And I'm like, okay, hey Alexa, play Texas Rangers podcast, and it played like some Walker Texas. I think it played the baby song Walker Texas Ranger or whatever. I'm like, and then I looked on YouTube. I'm like, there's a little bit of a presence, but nothing really like this where I could just share my opinions, what's going on day-to-day basis. And that's when I got the idea to do a channel. Go to my very first video and see where I started. It was about third baseman the Rangers could target. I firmly remember that one. Todd Frazier was actually in that video, and we ended up signing him. So that was that offseason. Basically, I wanted to build this to help bring similar fans together, build this Rangers fan base. And it's pretty cool to what it's gone to. So I remember started off with like 30 subscribers, and then three years into this, almost at 400, which is awesome. So yeah, I was like, if nobody else is doing this, why not I do this? And I know Rangers fans are probably wanting it because I'm wanting it. It's kind of like in the classrooms, like I have a question, somebody else probably has the exact same question. So that's when I started the channel. Pitching staff is a long way from being competitive. Not a long. I don't think it's a long way. Because if you think about it, let's just say we don't get Castillo, but we do get Kershaw. So it'll probably be a 3 or 4 year deal. So we'd have John Gray, Kershaw, and then Taylor Hearn, Dunning, and then let's just say Spencer Howard gets that last spot. However, if you think about next year, the Rangers probably would be interested in at least like a starter, like a cheap option. However, Coleman's probably ready. Jack Leiter's probably ready. Glenn Otto had another year to progress. Spencer Howard, all those guys had another year to progress. Yeri Rodriguez is closer. White's closer. TK Roby's closer. Granted, we don't trade those guys, but I don't think we're that far away. And if we were that far away, you really think we'd be going after Corey Seager and Marcus Semien? Cameron Wright, thoughts on keeping IKF? Could hold third and fill in for Seager when fatigued. I mean, that's true. But honestly, I think Josh Young, I think the Rangers would be better off if we had Josh Young play third. I may be a little biased because I would just want to see what Josh Young can do. But if he did just a little bit of what he did in the minors at the major league level, then he's already a better guy at the bat than IKF. But honestly, if we're just holding him, so let's just say Josh Young starts, and we're just holding him to be a bench player for when Seager's fatigued. I don't know if that's the best value we can get because he could start on a lot of teams like the Yankees, the Reds, the Athletics, and that could provide good trade value. You can always sign somebody like Charlie Culberson, Brock Holt to play shortstop when Seager's fatigued, but he could be just a versatility piece, kind of like a Chris Taylor. Because you have all these options right now, but injuries happen, players don't play well. So he could play third, maybe left field. Maybe he platoons with Cole Calhoun. That's an option. So what I'm open to both trading and keeping IKF because I know the second you feel like you have depth, that's when everybody starts to get injured. If you're Cowboys fans, I know people were thinking about trading Michael Gallup, and then CeeDee Lamb, no, Mari Cooper got COVID. CeeDee Lamb got a concussion, and all of a sudden on Thanksgiving, our number one wide receiver is Michael Gallup. Could you imagine if we traded him? So would that be a similar situation in Texas? It's really hard to know, but hindsight is always 2020. Woody's first year, yeah, we were 78 and 84. From Mike, Alexa is an Astros fan, confirmed. No, she's actually a Mariners fan. She's everything Seattle. If you ask her who's her favorite player, she says Mitch Haniger. Her favorite basketball team is the Supersonics. Wait, no, it's not. It's not. I think it's the Warriors. But the reason is because the product was developed in Seattle. Alejandro, we already have one of the best third base prospects in all of baseball. Young is gonna go to spring training, hopefully pop off and get the call. That's what I hope. That's what I've been saying on this channel. I even before the signings, I was wanting him to start, but I guess he had almost an easier path before the signings because IKF was just the shortstop. But I think he's ready. I mean, before his injury last year, he was probably going to get called up to the majors after the All-Star break. But that changed. That threw a wrench into the plan. But I think he's ready. Ranked at AA, ranked at AAA. I really don't know what else he has to prove, unless they just want to manipulate his time clock even more, which kind of sucks about baseball. However, if new things get put into the new collective bargaining agreement and it changes service time, then we could see Josh Young just get called up. But it's interesting. We'll have to keep our eyes on that. But make sure to subscribe to the channel because obviously I'll have you guys covered. Again, from Alejandro, we could also use IKF for even more prospects. Honestly, I don't know if the Rangers are really looking to get more prospects right now. I really think they're trying to look at controllable-ish players that can help win right now. Because I think that's the recruiting pitch they gave to the free agents. I'm pretty sure if we didn't add any more players, the free agents would probably be pretty mad, and they could say bad things about the organization. They could say bad things to players that wouldn't make players want to come to Texas. I remember when you started, just wait until the fans come back. You'll get a lot more. Thank you. Dirk Doncic. Could you imagine Dirk Nowitzki mixed with Luka Doncic? That'd be interesting. Trade Turner or Tatis? Tatis all the way. I mean, Trey Turner's a solid. He's one of the best shortstops in the game, but Tatis all the way. If you look at it from just baseball perspective, he has more power. Trey Turner has more speed, but Tatis, his speed's elite too. The glove, elite. Tatis has errors, but his glove is elite. He brings so much energy to a ball club. I know he had that little tantrum towards the end of the year. I'm not too worried about that. And if you look at jersey sales, if you're a business owner, you look at jersey sales, his are through the roof. Tatis all the way. What would you do with IKF? Well, I would either have him play third base if they don't view Josh Young as ready. Platoon number 2 is maybe platoon with Cole Calhoun. And then the third one is, I guess you could trade him for starting pitching, because I guarantee there's a team that would they would give up some starting pitching for a starting shortstop, because IKF would definitely start on other teams in the major leagues. That's a guarantee. I'm gonna check MLB Trade Rumors real quick just to see if there's any more news surrounding the MLB. If you guys are just checking in, Rougned Odor signed a 1-year deal with the Baltimore Orioles. Chris Taylor's resigning with the Dodgers. Philly signed Johan Camargo. Owners reportedly vote to institute lockout, expected to begin tomorrow. Padres to sign Nick Martinez to 4-year deal. I think he pitched for the Rangers. Raziel Iglesias, same division as us, going back to the Angels on a 4-year deal. Chris Bryant drawing widespread interest. I actually clicked on that, not the Rangers. This one, Marcus Stroman signed with the Cubs. Mariners interested in Trevor Story. Blue Jays and Mets among teams interested in Isiah and Kikuchi, the pitcher. And then Twins signed Dylan Bundy. Padres signed Luis Garcia. He actually played for the Rangers. Diamondbacks signed Mark Melancon. Okay, so I'm going to answer a few more, the rest of the questions, and if any more come in, I'll answer them. And then I'm going to wrap up this live stream. But it's been fun. We talked about possible Matt Olson trades. I'll try to, and possible like Luis Castillo trades, because he's my guy I'd rather go after if we went after Sonny Gray, Tyler Mahle, Luis Castillo. So I'll try to get more definite trade proposals. I'll try to make a video on that, because right now I was trying to just soaking my mind into the possibility of these trades. And then for IKF, it's weird because I could definitely see him being a big contributor to our team. He has good speed. He could steal bases, but man, he could also draw some good trade value as well. So I'll come up with trades for all 3 of those guys. But let me answer any more questions, and then I'll call it a night. Here we go. Dak Prescott, would you put low in an Olsen trade? Yeah, I would. Just so I think it alleviates some of the prospects that you would have to give up. And it also kind of just makes sense because the Athletics would need a first baseman, so you would give them a first baseman. But that's not always how it would work. And then if you think about it, if you were to keep low, you could use him as a DH. But I would consider low as part of an Olsen trade. And honestly, in the videos that I will be coming out with, he will probably be in it, because it just makes sense. I mean, when the Yankees were proposing trades for Olsen, they were putting in Luke Voit, Gleyber Torres. So Dirk Doncic, what's the plan for the kid we drafted in 2019? Second base from Mississippi State, I think. Yeah. So he had a really good season in the minors. He's played pretty well in the Arizona Fall League. He's ended the season in Double-A. He's kind of struggled in Double-A, but he played really well at Single-A Hickory. He's going to go to spring training with the Rangers, and if he doesn't get traded, he will probably start the year at Double-A. We don't have to add him to the. Oh wait, It was actually 2020, by the way. We don't have to add him to the 40 man for a while, so it's not like we have to call him up soon. But also, second base is locked down for 7 years to Marcus Semien. It's not like you can't get creative and say Justin Foskey, you can't play first or third or go into the outfield, but he could be traded this offseason. But if not, I think he goes straight to Double-A. M's are going to be dangerous this year. Yeah, I definitely think that Mariners are in the same situation as us. They're rebuilding, and now they feel like their prospects are where they need to be, or almost at where they need to be, and they're willing to spend. And the Mariners are probably more desperate than us because they haven't made the playoffs in forever. So they're going to spend. So they're going to be tough this year. The Astros are always going to be tough. The Athletics are probably going to be the worst team in the division just because I feel like they're at the point in their franchise where their best players are about to become free agents. They know they won't be able to sign them back, so they're going to trade them. And then, honestly, I feel like the Angels are just going to suck. Like, they always get high-caliber players. They have high-caliber players. They signed Noah Syndergaard, but they always do terrible. They have Mike Trout, the best player in the game. Ohtani, one of the most exciting players in the game. Anthony Rendon. They obviously have Noah Syndergaard now. And they also have some good sneaky good players as well, like Jared Walsh. But honestly, I think that would be terrible because they just always are. And I feel like when they're always terrible, it has to maybe do with their philosophy. That's just my thought. You think we get Suzuki? I'm not going to be as sure about this one as like Clayton Kershaw, but I definitely think we'll be in the running like we were with Ohtani. We'll be in the running, but I'm not going to say it's definite because if we're being honest, would Schwarber be better than Suzuki? Maybe. Chris Bryant? Maybe. Would they be more expensive? Probably. It's just tough to think about. And that's what makes the jobs of GMs and just front office is so tough in general. That's why we just have to respect them. It's when teams get trades right, we have to give them respect. And when they get it wrong, we can't always be upset. So that's it for me tonight. Thank you all for watching. But if you have any more comments, put them down and I'll answer them. I give you guys like a minute. But thanks for watching. Make sure to give it a like because that's the best way to help out the channel. Subscribe because I'm the #1 source for Rangers on YouTube. Live streams, news, rumors. And the goal is to get to 1,000 by opening day. I know that's crazy, but that's the goal. And share the content with more Rangers fans to grow the community. Thank you. Thank you, Dirk Doncic. All right, guys. Thanks again for watching. I'm going to end the live stream now. Have a good night. Oh, wait, hold up. Came in before the buzzer. Thanks, man. What's your name? So I don't have to always say dude, bro, man. My name is right there, that corner, Cullen Craig. So if you want to follow me on Instagram, just I use Instagram, not Twitter or any of those other ones. So just do like Cullen Craig _. But yeah, that's it. Thanks again, guys. Appreciate it. And have a good night. Bye-bye.